Explaining the flow diagram for Go context workflow. A flow diagram for how context works in Go provides a visual representation of its life cycle and interactions with goroutines. Let's break it down step by step. Mon 1. Context initialization. The workflow begins with creating a root context using either context.Background, used as the starting point for top-level context, context.ToDo, a placeholder when unsure which context to use. Flow caller function creates root context. 2. Derived context creation. From the root context, derived contexts are created to add specific functionalities. WithCancel adds cancellation capability, returning a cancel function. WithTimeout enforces a timeout for operations, automatically triggering cancellation. WithDeadline, similar to WithTimeout, but specifies a fixed time for context cancellation. WithValue attaches key value pairs for passing metadata like request IDs or tokens. Flow, root context, derives WithCancel, WithTimeout, WithDeadline, WithValue. 3. Propagation to goroutines. The derived context is passed to functions or goroutines. It ensures that all child operations tied to this context are aware of the shared cancellation, timeout, or data. Flow, derived context, passed to goroutines or functions. TAT 4. Monitoring and cancellation. The parent context constantly monitors its derived contexts. If the parent context is canceled or a timeout deadline expires, all associated child contexts are notified. The goroutines listening to the context stop their operations gracefully. Flow. Parent context signals child contexts for cancellation. 5. Cleanup. Developers must call the cancel function to release resources tied to the context. Ensure no resource leaks occur. Flow. Cancel function cleans up resources. Example use case in HTTP server. 1. A client sends a request. 2. The server creates a context with a timeout with timeout for the request. 3. The context is passed to goroutines handling the request. 4. If the client disconnects or the timeout expires, the context cancels all goroutines associated with the request. Explaining the flow diagram for Go context workflow.